Raul Smith here with a special announcement. Over the course of the next 2 months, we will be posting regular posts on sports.theclosingtag.com to kind of give you my thoughts on each individual team in both the NFL and the NBA. Just kind of giving you my overview thoughts on exactly where I think each team is going, what I think each team needs to do to improve, and kind of giving you my overall thoughts on, how their season's going to turn out. Spoiler alert, I think we may be in for some history in the NFL. History in the making. But with all that said, now you may enjoy the rest of the episode. Following is a Galactic Digital Studios production. This is Sports Central, part of the Closing Tag Network. The Lakers continue to strike out again and again and again. And Phoenix may have found the answer and why I think that's not entirely accurate. Also, has LeBron set the Olympic team up for failure? This is Sports Central, part of the Closing Tag Network. Now, I've made no bones in the last several months on this podcast, ever since we brought the Closing Tag back and splintered all the different things off into their own little universes. That's why you'll never hear me mention Trump on this podcast. That's why you'll never hear me mention anything about AI on this podcast. They have their own separate little play boxes, their own little separate sandboxes, and they're going to stay there. Same reason why you'll never hear me talk about LeBron on News Desk or on Tech Time unless LeBron is doing something stupid with AI. And even then I might be like, not worth it. But here's something insane. The Los Angeles Lakers have struck out completely in free agency. Let's rewind the clock back about a month, shall we? Okay. There was a lot of talk about the Lakers going after Klay Thompson, because Klay Thompson is from LA. He was born and raised in LA. His father, Michael Thompson, Laker great, one of the key founding members of that Showtime Lakers team from the 80s. He ends up signing and trading for less money with the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, struck out there. Then they're after James Harden. Well, the Clippers decide that they're going to keep James Harden, even though I still think that's a bad idea. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't think keeping James Harden specifically is a bad idea. Keeping him at $2 million or 2 years, $70 million, that's the bad idea. Just saying. So then they decide to go after DeJounte Murray. Well, the Atlanta Hawks basically decide, we're not going to trade DeJounte Murray to the Lakers. We're going to trade him to New Orleans instead, because New Orleans has something the Lakers don't that we want, and that's draft picks. So they swing and miss there. They end up swinging and missing on a number of other players, and I'm just going to kind of go, base level on that. They try to go get Donovan Mitchell. Cleveland instead decides to bring Donovan Mitchell's good buddy Johnny Bryant on as the associate head coach, and signed Donovan Mitchell to a 3-year contract extension. Kinda hard to trade someone that you just signed a contract extension for. Just saying. They go after DeMar DeRozan because, again, like Klay Thompson, DeMar DeRozan's from LA. He likes the beaches and the nice sunny weather, and he's in Sacramento. Huh? Then they try to go after Russell Westbrook because, like, that worked before. And Russell Westbrook not only is traded from the Clippers to the Jazz, but then the Jazz buy him out, and he ends up signing a 2-year deal instead with the Denver Nuggets, presumably to come off the bench. Okay, well, what about Chris Paul? Chris Paul nope, he's in San Antonio. Okay, what about Buddy Hield? Surely, but we tried trading for Buddy Hield in the past, and we would be more than happy to have Buddy. No, he's in Golden State. He's now Splash Buddy. Again, blame YouTube on that one, not me. I'm not the one that came up with that one. I'd love to take all the credit in the world for that, but I can't. Well, surely they can go after a Chris Dunn. No, that Russell Westbrook trade that we talked about, Chris Dunn ended up going from the Jazz to the Clippers. Well, maybe we can re-sign Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm sure that he'd be more than happy to come back and be thrown under the bus a few more times by LeBron. No. He is also now in Dallas. Well, maybe, just maybe, we can convince Jonas Valanciunas to sign with... No. He's in Washington. Well, surely we can bring Alex Caruso back. Alex Caruso was a fan favorite. He was awesome when he was here. He ended up winning a ring in LA. No. He's in Oklahoma City now. I got it. Contavious Caldwell-Pope, another former Laker, another, solid shooter that we could bring off the bench, and he would put up points in bunches. And no, he's in Orlando. Well, what about Paul George? Paul George, another LA guy. Obviously, he's feeling very disgruntled by the Clippers and how they've been treating him and this and that. No, he's in Philadelphia making more money. Oh, I got it. I got just the thing. Okay, you ready for this? Okay, let's go get Lauri Markkanen from the Jazz. We'd be more than happy to bring him. Nope. Danny Ainge has made it perfectly clear that the Utah Jazz will not trade Lauri Markkanen for anything other than a couple of young rising stars and 2 first-round picks. 2 first-round picks that the Lakers don't have. Sorry. I got it. I got just the thing. Phoenix. Let's go get Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. We could trade for him. We could just basically give them Nope. The second apron, basically considering the Phoenix Suns are $40 million over the second apron, they cannot trade Kevin Durant in a one for multiple players deal. It has to be 1v1, as I outlined in the last episode. So, what is the grand master plan that the Los Angeles Lakers have been trying to conjure up? They've been trying to, basically build their team the Laker way. We'll just pick. Just trade for everybody, and how's that worked out? All right, you're now worse off than you were before. And this is a theme that I'm going to come back to here in a few minutes with Phoenix. In a conference where just about everybody is improving, or at the very least staying stagnant, the Lakers are getting worse. And considering that they barely made the play-in last season, I'm going to venture a guess that LeBron's final swan song in the NBA is going to result in him doing something he's only done twice in his entire career, and that is miss the playoffs. But he's the GOAT. Okay. And I'll have more to talk about LeBron here in a minute too. But let's focus a little bit less on LeBron and more on, since I brought them up, the Phoenix Suns. So, I have been under the impression for the last 35 years that the Los Angeles Lakers fan base has got to be the most delusional, self-serving, self-centered, narcissistic fan base in the history of the NBA. I've mentioned numerous times in the past where the mindset of the Lakers fan base is, oh, we want Giannis. We'll just go get him. It'll take a couple years, but he'll come to the Lakers. He'll come to LA. We're the Lakers. We can get anybody we want. Salary caps and rules be damned. That's been their mindset for the last 35 years. I'm officially announcing, as of today, that Lakers Nation is no longer the most delusional fan base in the NBA. That title now belongs to Phoenix Suns fans. And if you think I'm talking about you specifically, chances are I probably am. So let's set the table a little bit, shall we? Phoenix Suns win 49 games last year in the regular season. Qualify for, I think, 4th or 5th. Let me pull up the numbers here real quick. But they end up qualifying for the playoffs, which is fine, right? It's fine. It's perfectly fine. Oh, no, they qualified for 6th. My bad. So they qualified for 6th place. They barely make the playoffs on a tiebreaker with the Pelicans. So, what happens when they make the playoffs? Well, they run into the next big thing, Anthony Edwards and his Minnesota Timberwolves, and proceed to get utterly embarrassed. 4 games, 2-0. Yeah. And because their big 3, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, because their salaries alone exceed the first apron of the new NBA collective bargaining agreement and the new salary cap, they're kind of fucked. To put it bluntly, they're kind of fucked. So they end up getting rid of Drew Eubanks. By the way, I don't buy Drew Eubanks as a backup center for the Jazz. I just don't. He's not long for the world, I don't think, in Utah. Eric Gordon ends up going bye-bye, going to Philadelphia. David Roddy ends up going in a trade to the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. So instead, they end up signing Monte Morris, Tyus Jones, Mason Plumlee, and E.J. Little. Okay, E.J. Little came in that trade for David Roddy. Decent enough additions, right? Right. So Phoenix also decides to change head coaches and bring in Mike Budenholzer. Okay, so all these changes are happening. All these things are happening. And my first thought when I heard about Tyus Jones is, yeah, that'll move the needle. That'll make things so much better for Phoenix, I'm sure. And you will not believe the vitriol and the backlash that I got on YouTube for just making that one small comment about, hey, see you guys in the play-in. Have fun. Because they barely missed the play-in last time with essentially the same roster. Now, I made this comment not knowing about Monte Morris, and I apologize. Monte Morris is actually a decent point guard. He will make things work with Booker, Beal, and KD. Okay. You've got me on that one. Monte Morris is pretty good. But the way that I described or made that one tiny comment about Tyus Jones, you would think that these guys were treating Tyus Jones like the second coming of fucking John Stockton. Oh, he's going to open the floor up. He's going to make things so much better for KD and for Bradley and for Booker and this and that and the other. And you would think that Mike Budenholzer was basically the second coming of Phil Jackson. I've got news for you, Phoenix Suns fans. Yes, Mike Budenholzer is a good coach. He's a championship coach. But his last season in the NBA, he had the number 1 overall seed in the Eastern Conference and lost in the first round to Miami. He was utterly and embarrassingly outcoached in every single facet. Now, that's not a knock on Budenholzer. Eric Spoelstra is a fantastic coach. I don't think Eric Spoelstra gets enough credit for just how good of a coach he really is. In 10 years, we're going to be looking back at this era in the NBA, and we're going to be like, why the fuck did this guy not get more credit than he did? But Budenholzer got fired for losing in the first round of the playoffs, something that the Phoenix Suns are very well accustomed to because they just barely lost in the first round of the playoffs. Granted, Budenholzer didn't get swept. Phoenix did. I grant that. Monte Morris is going to be a decent point guard. He'll be a facilitator. He'll make sure that KD and Booker and Beal all get their touches. It's fine. Here's the problem that Phoenix Suns fans are neglecting to point out, are neglecting to even acknowledge. The minute I even try bringing any of this up, I'm shut down. I'm labeled a hater. Oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. No, let me educate you assholes on something. Okay? Cool. Oklahoma City, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference last year, not only didn't get worse, they got better. That is going to be a 60-win team next season. I fucking guarantee it. The Denver Nuggets, granted, they lost KCP and they added Russell Westbrook. That might be a bit of a detriment, actually. But we'll just say for argument's sake that they stayed stagnant. Okay. That's going to be a 54-55 win team. Okay, cool. The Minnesota Timberwolves, the number 3 seed in the entire Western Conference last year. Didn't lose anybody, didn't gain anybody. So they kind of stay stagnant, right? Wrong. Anthony Edwards. And I've said this repeatedly on this podcast. Anthony Edwards is him. I know that it's hyperbole to call him the next Michael Jordan or the next LeBron James or the next anything else. So I will just simply say that Anthony Edwards is going to be the next face of the league. I'm not comparing him to Jordan. I'm not comparing him to Kobe. I'm not comparing him to his childhood idol, Kevin Durant. I'm not comparing him to LeBron James. He's going to be his own man. He's going to be his own beast. And he's got enough defensive and offensive firepower surrounding him. By the way, Mike Conley signing for less money is going to be huge, especially considering Minnesota's already over the second apron, much like Phoenix is. So, in essence, even though they didn't really make any moves, they did make a move, actually. They ended up trading for Rob Dillingham, one of the San Antonio Spurs picks. And if San Antonio picks somebody, you can best believe there is potential there. So, yeah, they just got better. So that's another 57-58 win team. Cool. The Clippers are a fucking shit show. They're not even going to make the play-in. You can completely dismiss them. They're done. Dallas. I don't care what you say about Klay Thompson's age. I don't care what you say about this, that, or the other. Dallas got better. All Klay Thompson has to do is stand outside, wait for Luka or Kyrie to dish him the ball as they're penetrating, and just keep knocking down threes. If he can do that, Dallas is going to be back in the conference finals. I guarantee it. That's another 55-win team. The New Orleans Pelicans just added DeJounte Murray. And they didn't even have to give anything up other than draft picks to get him. So now they have a team of DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, even though CJ's kind of on his way out, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson. That is a beast of a lineup right there. So they just got better. That's a 50-win team, easy. The Lakers, same thing as the Clippers. You can just dismiss them. They're a shit show. Bye-bye. Sacramento got better. DeMar DeRozan is going to be a beast for Sacramento. A short-term beast, but still a beast. He is going to help get them over the hump. Will it be enough to make the playoffs outright? Probably not. But they'll at least make the play-in. They're at least a 48-49 win team. Golden State Warriors got better. They got rid of Klay Thompson. It's kind of sad that a cornerstone like Klay Thompson had to go. But they ended up getting Splash Buddy Hield. They're in the process of potentially negotiating a trade for Lauri Markkanen. They're going to get better. They're not going to be a joke like last year. And hopefully Draymond Green doesn't punch anybody in the face or kick anybody in the balls this time, so he can actually stay with the team for more than 50 games. Assuming he does that, Golden State will be better. They will be a 50-win team. You're noticing a pattern here. But I'll continue, because apparently Phoenix Suns fans are dense and can't get the message through their fucking head. Houston, is going to get better. All that young talent that they have on their roster, and Fred VanVleet as the facilitator of all that, young talent, with Ime Udoka as the head coach, they're going to get better. They're not a 41-win team this year. They're going to be 45, 46 wins at the very least. Utah's going to tank. So much like the two LA teams, we can just dismiss them entirely. Portland, nope. Memphis is going to get better. They're getting John Morant back. They're getting Triple J back. Jaren Jackson Jr. They're probably going to be getting Victor Oladipo back. That's 3 major additions, and they didn't even have to make any trades to do it. So they're going to be better. They're not going to be a 55-loss team. They're going to be probably 500, probably 41 wins, 41 losses. So they'll be better. San Antonio is going to be better. I know people laugh at me when I say that Chris Paul is going to be a difference maker, but trust and believe Chris Paul is going to be a difference maker. He's not going to make a difference on the stat sheet. He's not going to make a difference on the court. He's going to make a difference behind the scenes. He's going to make a difference with players, off the court. He's going to help Castle. I forget the guy's name. The first round pick, 4th overall from Connecticut. He's going to make a difference for that young kid. He's going to help kind of mold him and teach him and, get him up to speed on how to be a great NBA point guard. And if there's anybody that I trust to do the job in that regard, it is Chris Paul. Look at his track record. He made the Clippers relevant. The Clippers, the fucking Clippers. He made that organization relevant. He turned the Oklahoma City Thunder around. He turned the Houston Rockets damn near into a championship contender, if not for the fact that they ran into Golden State. He led the Phoenix Suns to their first NBA Finals in nearly 30 years. Trust and believe. Golden State aside, because he was on the bench for Golden State and they had their own issues that they were dealing with. But trust and believe. Chris Paul still has that magic. Just because he can no longer produce on the court doesn't mean that he doesn't still have something left to contribute. He will get Castle up to speed, and the coaching between Pop and Paul is going to make him an infinitely better rookie than anybody's going to give him credit for. That's my dark horse for Rookie of the Year. I know everybody likes to talk about Alex Sarr. I know everybody's talking about Bronny James. Yeah, that's a fucking joke. Yeah. All these people are talking about all these other players. I would put my money, preseason money, on Castle. I'm going to pull up his name, his actual name. Hold on 1 second. Give me 2 seconds here. I would put Stephen Castle on as Rookie of the Year. Stephon Castle, to me, is the Rookie of the Year. Not necessarily because he's like the most outstanding rookie and this and that and the other. No, it's going to be because he's going to be coached by Popovich. He's going to be coached by Popovich. He's going to be coached by Chris Paul. He's going to have Victor Wembanyama as a teammate. Oh, by the way, can you imagine Victor Wembanyama learning a thing or two about passing and ball distribution from Chris Paul? God help us all. So that is going to be another 40-win team. in the Western Conference. Phoenix is improving. I'll grant that. Phoenix is improving. This is not me hating on Phoenix. This is not me hating on Devin Booker as a leader. This is not me hating on Mike Budenholzer as a head coach. Phoenix is improving. But they're not going to improve enough to keep up with the Joneses in the Western Conference. They're going to be 6th, 7th, maybe 8th seed in the Western Conference at best. Oklahoma is going to take the entire Western Conference. I guarantee it. If they don't have any injuries, if they don't have any, issues coming up, Oklahoma City will win the Western Conference this year. If Phoenix is not in right now with these three, Booker, Beal, and Durant, if they're not in it to win an NBA championship, what the fuck are you even doing? Are you just sitting around hoping and praying for these contracts to run out? And mind you, in the meantime, because you're $40 million over the second cap or second apron, your draft picks in 2021 and 2022 or 2031, 2032 are basically fucked. Regardless of if you're tanking or not in those years, your draft picks in those years are fucked. So in the meantime, enjoy mediocrity, I guess. Because Oklahoma's going to be number 1. Minnesota's going to be number 2. You can make an argument for Denver at number 3. I would put New Orleans at 4. This is kind of like a early, very, very early, prediction thing. I'll have more details on my sports blogs for sports.theclosingtag.com within, I'd say, probably a month, maybe a month and a half from now. But New Orleans number 4. I'd put Sacramento at number 5. Houston at number 6. There's your 6 right there. And I don't care what Monte Morris or Mike Budenholzer pull out of their ass. You're not going to turn back the hands of time on Kevin Durant. He's not going to magically become the Kevin Durant of 2017. That's just not going to happen. You might as well just give up on that entirely right now. Just hope and pray Kevin Durant's healthy enough to play 50 games at this point. You're not going to win all 50 of those games. And I don't see how you're going to win any of the other 32 that he's not on the floor for. Okay, you might get a fluke win here and there, but that's about it. So let's say, best case scenario, you're a 50-win team. You're 5, 6 seed, maybe, give or take. Okay. So you end up facing the Pelicans in the first round of the playoffs. Are you really sure that you're going to be prepared to take on Zion and Brandon Ingram and DeJounte Murray and maybe not CJ McCollum, depending on how things shape out? Are you really prepared for that? I don't think you are. It's going to be another first-round exit for the Phoenix Suns because that's what the Suns are used to. That's what Mike Budenholzer's used to. 2021 aside, you're done. You're done. And I keep circling back to the same point, because you're $40 million over the second apron, you're strapped. You can't trade Kevin Durant. You can't trade Devin Booker. You can't trade Bradley Beal. You can't trade for any of these guys for cap relief. You're stuck with this team. So what are we even doing? What are we even talking about? Why is it that Phoenix Suns fans can't get it through their head They're not winning a championship this year. Period. They're not top 4 teams in the Western Conference this year. Period. Phoenix is not good enough to contend for a Western Conference championship this year. Period. I don't understand what's going on, what the mentality is. I just rattled off, and by the way, I missed Dallas entirely, and I apologize. Dallas is 3, Denver's probably 4. So there's your top 4 right there. Can you honestly tell me Phoenix is better than Oklahoma City, Minnesota, Dallas, or Denver? And if you do, what are you smoking? And can I have some, please? Because goddamn, that's got to be some good shit. Enough about that, because I can feel my blood pressure is starting to rise a little bit. The Olympics have started. We're not going to get into the whole controversy about, they were mocking Jesus in the opening ceremonies. I'm so fucking stupid. It's like, really, dude? Really? It's not mocking the Last Supper. It's mocking the I forget the Greek guy's name, but basically he's the god. He's the Greek god of wine and fertility, or as Tyrion Lannister called him in Game of Thrones, the god of tits and wine. Sorry, this just went graphic, but whatever. It's not rated for safe for kids anyway, so whatever. I'm not going to get into that. That's for another podcast, for another time. We'll leave it alone for now. I want to make a comment about, or want to bring up a comment that LeBron James and his brainwashed stans, I'm going to keep calling y'all that because that's what you are. LeBron James isn't going to give you a free hand job for sucking up to him so many times. I promise. It's okay to criticize the man every once in a while. So, LeBron and his brainwashed stans have been making comments recently about how this is the greatest team ever assembled, and we can beat the 92 Olympic team, which I call bullshit on that. But the key thing that I took away from all these comments that have been made about this year's Olympic team was the comment that look at the competition level back in 92 compared to 2024 and how insanely more difficult it is to go up against France, to go up against Serbia, to go up against Canada, to go up against South Sudan. I mean, if you're struggling to beat South Sudan, you've got issues. And while all of that may be true, I mean, France does have Victor Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert. I mean, good luck scoring on that team. They may actually win the gold medal in men's basketball, which is perfect because they're in France. So there you go. Canada's got Shy Guy. I know it's pronounced Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but I'm still calling him Shy Guy because SGA just sounds stupid to me. They also have Dylan Brooks, which I don't know if Dylan Brooks actually works out for Olympic basketball, but whatever. We'll leave it alone. Serbia has Nikola Jokic. And I believe they even have Luka Doncic. So, yes, while it's true that the competition level has dramatically improved over the years, And a large part of that has to do with that 92 Olympic team that basically woke the entire world up like, oh shit, these guys are good. We need to step our games up. And you're probably witnessing kind of an evolution in international play because of that. Because of the fact that the 92 team was just that much better than everybody else. But I think the comment was more of a crutch. You'll notice something with LeBron James. When he says something, there is meaning behind it. There is some little hidden gem, little hidden meaning behind every single thing LeBron James says and does. That's just how he operates. Everything's meticulous. Nothing is by accident. So, with that said, could he be planting the seeds for an inevitable fail for the men's basketball team in the United States? Because they're already having issues. It's Monday afternoon, 7/29/2024. We're only 3 days into the Olympics, into the 2024 Summer Olympics. And there's already problems. Jason Tatum, the finals, okay, I don't know if he's finals MVP, but the guy that basically just signed the richest deal in the history of the NBA, the first $300 million man in the NBA, was benched in the first game against Serbia. Granted, the U.S. won that game. But there's already drama between Steve Kerr, the Olympic head coach, and Jason Tatum. And other people are starting to notice that, yeah, I don't know if Kerr's actually coaching. I can't remember who it was. It was either Charles Barkley or Draymond Green. But somebody basically said, yeah, Steve Kerr is not actually coaching. He's just letting these guys do what they want to do. Which works great when you're the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. Which works great when you're only competing against other American teams in the NBA infrastructure. But Olympic infrastructure, international basketball, is a completely different beast. It was a completely different beast back in 1992. 2024, it might as well be a mutant compared to what normal basketball fans are used to. So, I'm thinking LeBron said those comments about how much more difficult competition is in 2024 as a way, as kind of an eventual out, an eventual crutch to excuse why this team, the greatest American team ever assembled, can't even win a gold medal. Can't even win a gold medal. That's the United States mantra. That's been the United States mantra for years, ever since 1984. That's been the number one objective, the number one goal for USA men's basketball every single time they go into international play, whether it be the FIBA Cup or whether it be the Summer Olympics. The goal every single time is gold or bust. Every single time. There's only been 2 times that the Olympics team, the men's Olympic team, has failed to win gold since 1984. And that's 1988 and 2004. every other time they've won. And I'm starting to get a sense that this is going to be another one of those times where the men's Olympic basketball team is going to fail to win gold. And LeBron James just telegraphed it. Now, the bright side for Olympic fans for 2028 and 2032 is that after every single one of those times that the men's team failed to win gold, there have been radical changes. I don't know if radical changes will fix what's going on with, what's plaguing this year's Olympic team. I don't know if radical changes can fix the fact that the competition level, with all due respect, is dramatically better now. I mean, France is a juggernaut. Serbia has Jokic. Canada is rising. South Sudan apparently is an issue. I don't know if radical wholesale changes are going to fix anything. But staying the course, staying with this, just grab the 12 best American-born players in the NBA and the best coach in the NBA and throw it all together and hope it works. I don't know if that's going to work anymore. I just don't. I remember the 92 team. I was old enough to remember the 92 Olympic team and how exciting it was that you got to see all these players all on the same team. Jordan, Bird, Magic, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, John Stockton somewhere lost on the bench, but he comes in every once in a while and just wrecks shop. Clyde Drexler, all these amazing, amazing players, childhood heroes of mine, were all on the same team. It was like watching the Voltron force of American basketball come together and just completely destroy everybody. That magic is gone. That magic was gone back in 2000. We're never getting that back. But what you can do is try to be a little bit smarter about who you pick, both as coaches and as players. You're obviously going to want coaches that are used to coaching that style of basketball because, like I said, the international game is a mutant compared to the NBA game these days. You can't just sit on the fucking three-point line and just shoot threes and expect that to be good enough. And I know this is a dirty word for NBA fans, especially casual NBA fans, but guess what? It's going to need to be said. These guys need to play defense every once in a while. You can't just shoot threes and outscore your opponent by 120 points and expect that to be good enough anymore. You can't. The other countries and the other players have caught up and caught on to the game. They're just as good, if not better, at all those things than you are. So it needs to be about a more cohesive, more team-based type of situation, because if you're just going to throw 12 players out on the fucking floor, you're not going to win. And I think that's part of what LeBron was trying to say. Yes, I'm giving the guy credit for something for once, instead of just knocking him down. See, I'm not a hater. Bronzexuals, I'm not a hater. Shocking. Yes, I know. So there needs to be a system in place to determine, okay, Which coach is going to help coach international play the best? The mistake that I think Team USA made this time around is putting Steve Kerr on the coaching bench and not Greg Popovich. I think Greg Popovich, he's old. He's probably so busy with everything else that's going on right now in San Antonio. But I think he could potentially be a great asset, maybe not as a head coach, but maybe as kind of like a coaching advisor. Someone that can work behind the scenes with the other coaches, kind of get them up to speed on international play. Once the season ends, boom, you basically bring these guys into some sort of training camp, just kind of go over all the rules and all the different nuances and everything, and go over the system. And then from there, those coaches can then take the 12 players that are being selected for Team USA and start making practice drills and start, kind of getting them up to speed. These guys are the best players in the world for a reason. They can catch on to things very quickly. And I think it's beneficial to have that system in place so that it doesn't take 2, 3, 4 weeks into preliminary play and eventually into the actual Olympics to catch on to how the international game is different from the NBA game. That's the other thing that I think Phoenix Suns fans are not taking into account. Kevin Durant is on this Olympic team. You honestly think he's going to be healthy enough to play 50 games this year? Because I don't. But all of that aside, I do have one final note before I head out. No, it's not about the sports blogs. I already mentioned that at the top of the show. But I did want to mention that the NBA has reached an agreement. $76 billion. They are going to be on ABC and ESPN, on NBC, and on Amazon Prime Video. Now, there is a little bit of legal kerfuffle between the NBA and Turner Sports, but that's probably for another podcast another time, since I'm quickly approaching an hour here. So we'll leave that alone for now. We'll probably come back to that topic either in podcast form or in blog form, depending on how my schedule is. My schedule is just considerably gone. Woo! So keeping that in mind, if you'd like to donate to the Closing Tag Network, donation link is in the upper right-hand corner of theclosingtag.com, of all the closingtag.com websites. Click on the donation link and you know what to do from there. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a review, please. If you're watching this on Facebook, like, share the video, comment. I love reading comments. Well, most of the time, as long as they're not from Delusional Suns fans. If you're a Delusional Suns fan, I apologize, but kind of need to be called out on this shit. Just saying. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize for nothing. Fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. That way you're notified every time a new video drops. I am slowly getting back caught up on reels and shorts. So every time a new short drops, you're alerted then as well. So stay tuned for that. And I want to thank everyone, even Suns fans, even Lakers fans, for listening, for liking, for downloading, for donating, for doing everything you can to help support this endeavor. Your efforts, and I mean this sincerely, are not going unnoticed. So thank you. Until the next time that I rag on a team's fan base, which might be the Jazz next, I make no promises. Remember to include your closing tags. Thank you. This has been a Galactic Digital Studios production.